Hey everybody, welcome to Performance Anxiety. This week I'm pleased to have with me Ava Blackwell. She's an actress, a stunt woman, an occasional bassist, a former Nerdperson, and just a really fun person to talk to. We talk about her time at Prague Film School and some weird auditions in the Czech Republic. We also talk about her project, The Bulldog Effect, her movie Excelsis, about female MMA fighting. We also discuss her role in Star Trek Discovery. It's a really fun interview. She's a blast. Give her a follow at Ava Blackwell on social media, Avaah Blackwell. And please subscribe, rate, and review, and share all the episodes. You can check out merchandise at performanceanx.threadless.com and follow us on social media at performanceanx on Twitter and Instagram. Please welcome to the show, Ava Blackwell.
So Ava Blackwell was on my podcast. She's in Toronto. You better get on here.
She's got neck muscles you wouldn't believe.
You're not using the video, are you?
No.
You're just using the... Okay.
Just audio.
Okay, good. All
right. Well, I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me.
Oh, gosh, my pleasure.
The name of your podcast, and I checked you out on Instagram and stuff.
Cool.
Performance anxiety. It's like we all have it at some point, or another, or we deal with it chronically, or we don't. It's just like what you do with that emotional risk. Like, do you take that risk to push through that anxiety or not? And how does it pay off? That would be kind of how I approach this.
Exactly. And It's, like I said, it's real casual. And it's funny that the podcast started out more about that, and it ended up becoming more about just really funny, interesting stories that most people don't get to hear about, the weird behind the scenes stuff. So it's kind of morphed since I named it. So it's not exactly about how, not every, and some of the shows are more focused towards what the guest has done to overcome anxiety and fear to get to this level of success they're at currently. And others, it's, hey man, I got a bunch of weird stories of stuff that happened on tour. You want to hear them? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So
yeah, cool, man. Cool. Yeah, well, let's flow and see what happens. Let's have a conversation. Cool.
So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I do appreciate your time. You seem like you're a very busy person.
Thanks. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I mean, I like to be busy, but more than being busy, I like to be productive and just committed to this crazy lifestyle that I've decided to embark on.
Let's talk a little bit about that. You do quite a number of things here. I've been looking at your press kit and you're reading your bio, and so you're an actress, a stunt person, and what am I missing? I know I'm missing something.
Well, that's basically it. Like I focus my creative energy and my overall energy goes towards being an actor and being a stunt performer. But if I find stories that I think are worth telling, that I want to put my energy behind, then I come on in a producerial manner. Okay. So I can also act as sort of like an associate producer, or sometimes in the role for smaller productions as an EP to just help get stories told and help get stories made.
Oh, wonderful. Did I read correctly that you've also done modeling?
Yeah. And I think that just comes from the fact that I'm 5'11" and I'm athletic, so I happen to be thin, and I won some sort of genetic lottery, although on the inside I'm a total geek. But people want to put me on the runway occasionally. I have had I've been blessed with a pretty successful career as a model too.
So what came first? Acting, modeling, stunt work?
It was always acting. Ever since I was a kid, I was always doing performances for my parents. It was like a way that I could connect with my parents through this crazy time, because they divorced and whatever. Like, that's many people in my generation.
Right.
I'm a product of divorce and military parents, but very loving parents still.
Good.
But my dad would be away on exercise, and he would come back, in a way that we would like sort of connect with each other, as I would just do some sort of crazy performance. I had this weird character called Nerdperson. I would go upstairs and find all these. Yeah, I know. I was the quintessential like crazy kid.
That's
like,
awesome.
My dad would be like, you know, just unpacking his army rucksack and stuff, and I would sneak away and find like, I don't know, the nerdiest pair of pajamas and maybe like an old reindeer or like those Christmas like headbands.
Oh, with the antlers on them and stuff?
Yeah, the antlers. And he got me like this voice mutator microphone that just followed us around to every house that he moved to. And I would go grab them all. It would be like July. And I'd come down and be like, it's Nerdperson! And it would like...
That's awesome.
And I would just run around like a crazy kid. And it would always break the ice between my dad and I when we were reconnecting. So it would just bring a big smile to his face and we'd laugh and I could relax and he could relax. And so that's really where it was born from. And then I just was cursed with this desire to be an actor and entertain people. So
it grew out of love.
Out of love, but also maybe a little bit of this performance anxiety or social anxiety, you know? Maybe. Like just wanting to get back to my dad. I'm like, I know how to break this.
Family
connection.
Nerdperson's out. So
we get the dog involved too.
All right. Is any of this recorded? Any videos of this?
Pictures. I have pictures somewhere. Like I should really get this up on my social media somewhere. There are pictures. My sister Mick is really good at archiving this stuff. So Mick, if you're listening, if you can find pictures of Sabian and I as Nerdperson and oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I would call Sabian was the dog. He was my sidekick, and I would call him Butt Baby.
Oh, nice. How big?
I can't believe I'm admitting this, but yeah.
How big was Sabian? What kind of dog was he?
Sabian was like a husky German Shepherd mix.
Ooh, wow.
So he was pretty big.
Nice and fluffy,
ride him like a pony, much to his his disagreement, but I could.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is amazing.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Next send pics.
Please, I got to see these. So you went to you ended up moving around a lot as a kid, and tell me a little bit about how you started getting into acting around the time you started thinking about college. Is that right?
Well, more seriously, I got into it from the time I was thinking about college, because I realized that it was the thing I was most passionate about. It was the reason I would show up to school. Sometimes I was a good student. I was usually on the honor roll and all those other things. And I would, like pretty happily go to class and study. I like to learn. But honestly, the only reason I showed up to school most of the time was either for band practice. I was part of a marching band.
Oh, my kids are all in the marching band.
Yeah, I was in a marching band. I was in a jazz band. I was in the marching band. I was in the orchestra.
Ooh, what instrument?
Oboe, and then tenor saxophone and baritone saxophone.
Oh, wow.
Tenor sax in the jazz band and baritone saxophone in the marching band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like simultaneously applying to music schools and film schools because I was kind of undecided. I mean, either way, I was destined for a life of artistry. But I wasn't. I
something creative.
Let fate decide. Yeah, I just kind of let fate decide which one, and I got accepted to Prague Film School when I was living in Germany with my dad.
So that was after you went to the Netherlands.
Yeah. Right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have done your research. Okay. Yeah, I went to the Netherlands. I took a gap year in high school. In grade 11, I had applied to be a Rotary Youth Ambassador, which is with the Rotary Club. And they're an international organization that is set up to just basically help the world and help with international relations between different countries and encourage people to get to know each other, because they believe that when you know a person, when you have memories with a person of another culture or whatever, that it helps to... They are all about service above self and helping to garner good relations between different countries. Okay. And they believe that if everybody spent a year or even 6 months in another country, that there would be no war. Okay. And actually one of their goals was to eradicate polio within 20 years. And they set out to do that in, I believe, 1995. And I just got the email last week saying it happened. So they met their goal. They helped to eradicate polio through fundraising, and it was like through a bunch of different countries and initiatives that came together. So,
oh, that's awesome!
But I'm Rotary. Congratulations, you guys did it.
That is fantastic. So what were you doing in the Netherlands? Just kind of hanging out and talking with people? I mean, what do you have to do when you're an ambassador?
So I was 17 to 18, and I lived with 4 different Dutch families. Thank you for taking me in. That were all affiliated with the Rotary Club in some way. Either they were members or the parents of another child that had been sent on exchange. And I went to school, one of the local schools, and then I spoke to different organizations around the Netherlands about international relations between Canada and the Netherlands. And I learned the language, I learned about the culture, and then essentially I just had to do reports about what I found, like the pros and cons about Dutch culture, and like things I discovered about myself and about the culture and different values, how my values were shaped over the year there. And it was an incredibly positive year. It was, like, in retrospect, it was one of the most informative years of my life.
Oh, wow. Well, that sounds like a great experience. So, and I know there's Rotary clubs throughout the U.S. and Canada. So it sounds like a wonderful organization to get involved with.
I would highly recommend anybody that has any interest in doing any sort of humanitarian work, interpersonal work, business networking, anything, to get involved with their local Rotary Club, because you do it all in one go.
And you may end up in the Netherlands.
I'm always happy to plug Rotary in whatever I do, because they're just a great organization. Like, I actually recently in 2016, we did a charity fundraiser with them here in Toronto. I helped to organize. And we did it at the National Club just down on Bay Street here in Toronto. And we raised something like $3,000 for a local arts community called Sketch Toronto.
Oh, cool.
And it's for marginalized youth, to help them get involved with the arts, to show them different opportunities and allow them to have different outlets where they can express themselves.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. So you moved on from that to participating in the Prague Film School's Acting for Film program. Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah. Okay. So I was living in Germany with my father, who was posted there, and my stepmom and brother and sister. And I had been applying to different film schools around, and music schools. Like I said, I was applying to both, just letting fate decide. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to be, I was equally interested in being a cinematographer and an actor. Like, I loved both. I loved essentially working behind the camera and in front of it. And I loved the world of cinematography as well. And Prague Film School which is a division of FAMU, had a pilot program for acting for film. And nowhere else in Europe was really offering a specialized program in acting for film. And it included all of the classical foundational training for theater that a lot of the great schools offer. Like, they offered training in Brecht and Lecoq and Stanislavski, all that foundational training. Okay. Along with teachers from the U.S., from Hollywood, from New York, some from Canada, Montreal, and then also from Russia, from the Czech Republic, from England, for film training as well. So it was like this amazing program that just gave you amazing chops for acting for both stage and screen, specializing in screen. But we also, like, through that film school, I was brought on to the Prague Shakespeare Festival.
Oh, wow.
It was like, and so I applied to that program, and I was accepted. I was one of 10 actors selected from around the world to participate in that program.
That is amazing. Do you have any idea how many apply to that program?
There was a lot. There was a lot that applied. I didn't realize how competitive it was. It was like, when we walked in, they like treated us like we were the gods. I didn't even know. It seemed quite easy for me. I was like, was this as easy for everybody else as it was for me? But no. Apparently, like, it was a very rigorous audition process that took months and months and months for most people. But
oh, wow.
I mean, it was like pretty easy. Like, I sent in my application and the head of the school called me, and then I was, like, before I knew it, I was on a plane to Prague. Like, I sent in my stuff, sent my portfolio, and I was on a plane to Prague.
That is crazy, man. So
it's insanity.
Yeah, so it's almost like maybe it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I think it was. It was another very informative year. And this year, like, that year in Prague was more... That was my first year living without much structure to my home life and more structure to my educational life. Like, it was the opposite of Rotary, where, like, I had to figure out how to fend for myself in the world, but my education was structured.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, like, I had no living situation set up. I just, like, kind of flung myself over to Central Europe, and I was like, I'll figure it out. Like,
I'll just go to Central Europe. We'll just figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. And my parents were like, you're going to be okay? Like, you don't even have a credit card. I'm like, I'll be fine. Like,
yeah. Oh. It's only Central Europe. It's just fine.
Yeah, it's only Central Europe.
Nothing bad ever happens there.
Nothing.
We'll be fine.
Which, you know what? This is hilarious. I ended up finding a flat in the center of Prague. Prague's divided into, like, Prague 1, 2, 3, and I found a flat one, and I was like, this seems weirdly familiar, the corner. And then I was going through my pictures a few months later of my tour of Central Europe with all my exchange students. We stayed in a hostel that was just down the street when we went on a Euro tour from where I was living in Prague, and I had, like,
oh my gosh,
drunken photos on that corner. It was, like, very weird Twilight Zone.
Wow.
I was like, that's why it's so familiar, but, like, strangely in my subconscious, I'm like, I threw up in that alley. Like, yeah.
I almost remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
That is amazing. Now,
yep.
So when you're in that program, and I went and checked out some of the roles that you're real and all, it's not all serious roles. There's definitely some comedic stuff in there.
Yo, okay. People ask me what my wheelhouse is, and I'm like, my wheelhouse is whatever I read and resonates with me. Like, I love comedy because I like Nerdperson was where I started.
Yeah, exactly.
The roots of my career, But I also love, like, really juicy, meaty roles. Like, I'm a pretty intense person, so anything that resonates, like, on the Richter scale of intensity with me is what I play. So I tend to play, like, either strange aliens in outer space that are, like, dodging asteroids left and right and trying to save the galaxy, or I play, like, some crazy physical comedic character. I love it all.
Did you do any improvisational work, comedic work while you're at that?
Throughout high school, I was always, like, if there was an improv troupe, I was on it. I loved improv. Improvisational comedy is one of my favorite forms of acting, like, because you're really out there. Like, you have nothing to rely on, but you have yourself and you have your team.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you're acting, that's all you have too. I mean, sure, you have the script and all that stuff, but you have you and you have your team.
Yeah, and everything you have to accept. There's no, you can't deny it. It's always yes and.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to be truthful. Like, you can't, pardon my language, but you can't bullshit your way through improv. Like, it just doesn't work.
Exactly.
You have to be truthful. You have to be there. You have to be present. And if you're not, it falls flat. I love it because it keeps you honest. It
does. And it when you're doing it, it keeps you sharp too. And that's I took improv classes at the DC Improv in Washington.
Oh, awesome.
And I absolutely fell in love with it. And it's funny. I did it to help. I write a couple friends of mine are out in LA, and one's a producer for Comedy Central, and the other his brother's an actor out there. And so I'd write with them, and I did it to kind of improve my writing, and I ended up falling in love with actual improv.
Oh my God. Like, for me, I'm like, nah, screw writing. I love improv. Like, why would you write when you can just improv, man? Like,
exactly.
Record it.
Exactly. They're like, hey, we got this idea. And I'm like, we don't need a script. Let's just go ahead.
We got people in the room. Let's just do it, man.
Just go to whoever you sell your stuff to and tell them we don't need a script. We'll just sell an idea and we'll just go with it. Just give us a lot of money. And it hasn't worked out yet. So I don't know why.
I wonder why. No, I know. I'm not discounting like writing and all that stuff, but for me, my style of rehearsal, my style when I'm writing a project is I need to get together with somebody and flow with it. Like I usually record my conversations, and then even my rehearsal process for auditioning and stuff, I have to go do it with another person, and I have to have that free flow, like ad-lib included in it to get it all out there and then bring it back to what it needs to be. But I need to go explore all of that, which is what improv is.
Yeah.
You just get an idea and you go, and you can't be judging yourself while you're doing improv. Like for me anyway, some performers might work well in that zoom in, zoom out. But when I do improv, I just have to be in it in the moment, and I have to like just go for it. Like I don't even have to have time to like judge myself as to whether or not it's the right choice. I just go with it. I just react, you know.
That is awesome. I love hearing that. Now, how does stunt work find its way into all of this?
So stunt work is the exception to that rule. Stunt work has to be well rehearsed and well prepared for.
You don't want to improv stunt work.
Absolutely not. For me, like, absolutely not.
Just jump. Hopefully there'll be a bag there. Hopefully somebody will catch you. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
Hopefully, like, it'll work out. Just go with it.
Just do it. We'll figure it out.
Those words with stunts. Walk away. Walk away. Run. Okay, no. Truthfully, the best stunt people I've worked with are also the best actors and the best storytellers, because there is that that well-rehearsed, abandon is not the right word, but that well-rehearsed trust in yourself. So you rehearse it so well, and you also keep yourself sharp. So you have to be continually training in stunts in order to be good at it. You have to keep your skills sharp. And the best coordinators I've worked with are also the most focused people. But they've also got the ability to just process things at a speed that I cannot even comprehend. They can process things and see them simultaneously from every angle, and they know so much. I have so much respect for any stunt coordinator and any high-level working stunt person that I've ever met. Like, they're the best people to be around, because they've got this sense of like I've got you, and we'll do this together. But they're also like incredible people that are just so brave. But it's not bravery out of like, we'll just do it. It's bravery out of like, I have trained myself into being able to do these incredible human feats. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's a mixture of bravery and pure confidence in what they're doing and their abilities.
And the confidence is based on like past ability to do these incredible things.
Right.
Like we'll be on set, and then this like stunt person will just do a flip on concrete out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my god,
Jeez.
Who are you? You know?
So, what kind of stunt work do you end up doing? Is it that kind of stuff?
Tall. So yeah. So where my stunt career has taken me so far is I've been doubling for a few actresses around town. And usually, because I'm an actor too, I'm auditioning for these roles, and then somehow I just get hired for the stunt double role. Either I get hired for the role and they hire me as a stunt actor, because they're like, oh, you can do stunts. If the insurance allows, they just kind of save. And I'm like, I come with the full package.
I'm your one-stop shop.
Yeah, but it also depends on the insurance contract. Sometimes insurance for the unions and for the production, they need a stunt double.
Okay.
So I've done some wire work on an upcoming Netflix series. I do a lot of prosthetics work. So if the actress is not comfortable in a mask or like whatever other torture device prosthetics wants to put in, I'm like, I'll do it. Fun. What, blind, deaf, and 30 pounds on your head? Yeah. I'll do it. I'm your girl.
I live for it.
Yeah, I live for it. I do it. I mean, it's fun. I like it. And learning how to do mask work is so cool. Like, that's the one thing that Star Trek really taught me, is just how to do mask work.
That I wanted to ask you about that particularly, because I saw your character, and it looks like an inside-out walnut. I don't.
She's been called everything from like turkey head, chickpea, inside out walnut. I haven't heard.
Well, good. Your head's enormous in that thing.
It's huge. It's huge.
How long does it take you to get that done?
About 30 seconds. You know why?
Uh-oh.
Because it's a helmet. It pops on and off.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
If you look on one of my Instagram posts, which was a post from one of the producers back in season 1, it's just a behind the scenes photo. It's on my Instagram. It's about 2 lines down. And Hugo, one of the Emmy winners, is holding my head, and I've got my hands up. I'm like, jazz hands. I'm actually doing the Star Trek Spock thing, but you can't see because my hands are so floppy in the prosthetic. I'm just like, this is me attempting. But yeah, so he's holding my head, and you can see it's like it's now just a helmet that pops on and off of my head.
Wow.
And it's very heavy, and there is actually a person assigned on set to just hold up my head off of my neck between takes, because it is so heavy.
God. Oh, it's enormous.
It's so huge. I have this whole joke about how I've really let this role go to my head.
Oh,
because it's like,
is that just a job now? You go in and you just stick this, like 20-pound, 30-pound thing on your head and go to work?
Yeah,
on the bridge?
I think it's between 12 to 15 pounds. I think that was like the final weigh-in of Osnalis. Yeah, that's basically like, that's my bread and butter.
So you got to do a lot of neck work.
Yo, my neck is so strong. Neck muscle. Especially when we do like the shaking on the bridge. Like, I come home, I'm like, yeah, it was another shaky day on the bridge. Like, the ship, like, Discovery's being blasted by like asteroids on this side. The 80s like left. I'm like, oh. Right, oh.
How many times in the first season were you doing that and you just fell over onto your head?
Oh my god. Okay, so like, I've never fallen over on my head, but for the first little bit, I didn't know how it played. And there's this footage of me where like they had like the AD came to me and was like, okay, Ava, maybe, like, he was very calm about it because I can't hear much in that. And in the first season, we were all figuring out how to work together. But the AD came to me and he like leaned into me very seriously. He's like, Ava, maybe just like a little less on the back and forth. And like, now I know. He was like, we were in the shuttle to Hamilton somewhere, and he's like, Ava, like, we have footage of you, and it was just hilarious. Like, I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't see anybody. So they're like, a comet's hitting, and I'm just at the spore drive, and I'm like, oh my god, a comet! I'm like at a full 15, like DEFCON 5, everything's going down, and everybody else is like, bloop. I don't want. It's like, we don't know how you didn't snap your neck in that thing. Like, your head's whipping back and forth, and you're about to like smash the glass.
That's I would. Do they release that? I would love to see that.
I want to see. Okay, so the season 2 blooper reel is coming out this week sometime, so watch for it.
I mean, timing is awesome.
And I may or may not be on there doing some pretty impressive stuff.
Some amazing neck stunt work.
Neck stunt work, yeah. Hire me just for my neck muscles. If there's a stunt coordinator out there, I have the strongest neck in this industry now.
It's amazing. I'll attest to that. So what's the worst stunt thing that's happened to you? Is it injury or?
No, it's just like not getting hired.
No, okay.
the worst stunt thing that's happened to me is just like honestly, just years of me sending out my package to stunt coordinators that have like, you know, seemed really gung-ho about me and just getting crickets. Like, just years. And I still get that sometimes. Like, I'm not the most accomplished person, and I'm a tall, thin-framed woman, and like, you need me or you don't. But just like people, I'm like, really? I feel like, have you seen Stranger Things where he goes up and like asks everybody to dance for like with him at the school dance at Snowball?
Yep.
And he keeps getting rejected. I'm like, well, I'm like going up and asking everybody. I'm like, want to dance? And they're like, no, loser.
I can't. I'm intimidated by your neck muscles.
I'm like, oh, that's fine. You just clearly don't know who I am.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm on Star Trek. That big into walnut person.
Who I think I am? No, it's not that at all. Like, I get it. Stunts, you got to work within your parameter, and there's like very strict parameters, and they literally either need you or they don't, and you either have the skill set that they need or you don't. And I get it. Like, I am what I am, and I continue to train, and I continue to hone my skills. But if you don't need a 5'11" girl that can rock prosthetics, that's just not what you need. I get it.
I don't know who wouldn't need that.
Like, please answer my emails, guys.
Just even if it's no, just reply.
Just reply.
So if you haven't had a really bad stunt experience,
No, I've been very lucky. I've only had really good stunt experiences, like rehearsals and coordinators and people. They've only ever been really good.
So what is your training like for stunt? I know with acting, you can go and do a lot of acting stuff outside of movies and TV. There's troops you can join and things you can do. What do you do for stunt work to stay on the top of your game?
Well, it's actually kind of similar.
Just jump out random windows and shit.
Yeah, you just find a window, you jump.
Yeah.
Do not. No, don't do that. Please do not. No, it's the same. It's like you find people that are in the industry that are working and that are willing to let you tag along with them. And you just kind of be nice enough to like be included, and you just hitch a ride and like you go work out with them. And usually it's like what I do now is I go train at an open gym every Thursday, and it's usually at some sort of gymnastics gym. So usually, like, if you're in a city, there'll be a gymnastics gym in your area, and they'll have an open gym, and you can go by yourself. And usually there's a good coach that will teach you the basics of gymnastics, or you can take some gymnastics lessons. And it's good because like new school stunts is very acro based, and by acro I mean acrobatics.
Okay.
And there tends to be sort of a separation in stunts between old school and new school.
Okay.
And new school is the stuff you see in like all the superhero movies, like all the flips and wire work and falls and stuff. But they have a lot of old school foundational things in them, like a lot of gun training and a lot of knife training and like falls downstairs and all that other stuff. That's all old school.
Okay. I have seen some of your old school work in fangirl fights.
Fangirl fights.
I've seen some of that. You play a whole bunch of people in those. Yeah,
that was with a great stunt performer, Margarita Soldatova, and I. We met through an acting program we were taking, and Paul Neary, he was our wonderful director and editor and cinematographer, man. And we all just got together in like 2016 because we were all kind of starting out in that section of the industry. And we said, let's do something. And we all got really busy. Fangirl Fights is like, basically we just ended up playing characters that we were fans of, like Joker and Batwoman and Catwoman. It was all comic book based.
Right.
And we would create fights about it. And if you watch the whole series, you'll realize that the whole series is one continuous fight. So the last frame of each episode leads into the first frame of the next episode. Okay. So like if I'm getting punched in the face in the last episode, I'm reacting to that punch in the next episode, and then it continues.
Okay. That makes sense. I think I watched a few of them out of sequence.
Yeah,
too,
so it's YouTube stuff. Like, it's really fun. Yeah.
Watching it out of sequence is not recommended then.
Well, you could. Like, they're standalone sequences, but we recommend watching them in sequence. And that's just something we were putting up when we were starting out because we wanted, like, we had some time and we wanted to train. And Margarita was a very accomplished figure skater in the Ukraine where she came from, and she was here in Canada getting her footing, and she was a lot further ahead in stunts than I was at the time, and she still is. She works predominantly as a stunt performer now.
Okay.
Which she's quite successful, and I commend her. She was actually my stunt double in an upcoming movie that I'm one of the leads in called EFC movie. It's an MMA fight film where I did as much as and that's one of those examples where like insurance would not allow me to do all my own stunts.
Oh,
and I did it like I was capable of doing the stunts, but because of insurance I needed to have a stunt double.
Okay.
So Margarita stepped in and she was great. She's an amazing performer. And I met some of my best colleagues in the industry through that film, and that I still work with and still see around, and that's coming out early 2020.
And tell me a little bit about what that film is about.
Yeah, it's about, the tagline for the movie is, it's not just another fight, it's the fight for everything. And it's all about female MMA, which is female mixed martial arts. And it follows the story of my sister in the film, Cassidy Jones, and her rise through amateur boxing to like the big leagues, to the championship. And my character is her sister, and I started the whole legacy, and I started this whole kind of level of MMA called EFC, Excelsius Fight Championships.
Okay.
In the movie. It's all about going through the hero's journey, self-doubt, doubt from other people, not knowing if you're good enough, wanting to be good enough, training hard, like going through all of that stuff and everything you have to push through in any journey that we want to get to the top.
Well, and it comes out in 2020, you said?
Yeah. In 2020 is just in post-production right now. We shot it earlier this year. Oh,
awesome. And I've seen some of the other things that you're working on, and hoping you can give me a little bit more information about. I did see the Bulldog effect. What is that?
So the Bulldog effect is a proof of concept for a series that we shot earlier this year and it's going through post-production as well right now. And we shot it with an amazing team of people. Danny Aboni, who also worked with me on Jupiter's Legacy, is our stunt coordinator in that. Asante Tracy, who's also in Mouthpiece by Patricia Rosella. He's my co-star and also the writer and creator of the Bulldog Effect. And we have a bunch of people from Handmaid's Tale and Star Trek working on all the post-production stuff in it right now. So it's a sci-fi series that we're currently pitching. So if anybody out there wants to fund a sci-fi series,
hey, there we go.
It's just essentially, again, about the struggle to be human in a world that would condition you to conform and be something other than yourself. So it's a post-apocalyptic world, a dystopian world that takes these humans with potential to protect the elite and trains them and brainwashes them into being these killing machines, these bulldogs. And I love the actual dogs, bulldogs. I love them. I know that they can be the most loving creatures on the planet, but they can also be the most vicious.
Yeah.
And this isn't tied to any sort of actual Bulldog effect. The Bulldog effect is tied to something that we've created in the universe of our show, which is the Bulldog effect, turning these soldiers into bulldogs, these humans into bulldog soldiers through nanotechnology and human augmentation.
Man, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. I really believe in this concept, and we're working hard to pitch it. It's in final stages of post-production, and we're looking at pitching it further next year.
Okay.
And it's something that's really shaped my life, even if it only lives as this proof of concept. Having gone through this process of being the character of Angelica and going on that journey, some characters really affect you, and Angelica is just one of those characters that's really gotten into me.
Oh, wow.
And really affected me,
Do you have a role in the production besides actor?
Yeah, I hooked them. That was one of those shows where I came on as sort of an associate producer. I hooked them up with a studio. I brought a bunch of the post-production team on board. I brought a bunch of the production team on board. I was in talks for months before they cast me. And, you know, we still like, we have our core team of Asante, Roman, Avalon, and I were the core four.
Okay.
Who are now like the main, at the moment, we're sort of the main producers and the main decision makers on it. But that's just until we get a studio attached.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds awesome. I looked up the Facebook page and saw some of the images on there. And from after what you're telling me, I like sci-fi. I'm a little particular about it, but this sounds like something that I'd get into. So I would love to see this.
Oh my God! Like, tell your friends and stuff. It's really just at this stage. We're keeping the cards like close to our chest, but it's just because we're shopping it around right now, and we don't want to put too much out into the world until whoever is helping us make it into the universe that it can be. We don't want to put too much out into the world, right?
Yeah.
Because we want like whoever's going to be ultimately helping us to decide that. We want them to have final say, but like this project did the same thing to me that it did to you, where I like as soon as I heard about it, I was like, "Excuse me, what? Like, tell me more. I want to know more. Like, I'm hungry for that. I want to know about that universe."
Yeah, exactly.
I'll definitely keep you posted.
Oh yeah, and I'm following you on Facebook, and I recommend everybody who's into sci-fi check it out on Facebook. Where else is that? Will be updates on that be? That's a horrible sentence.
You can find it on Instagram, Bulldog Effect. You can find it tagged on my stuff. I'm at Ava_Blackwell, AVAAH_Blackwell, BLACKWELL. All of the main updates will be on my page first, and then Bulldog Effect page, because we've taken the domain name, but again, like we don't want to put too much out on social media until we have the main funders. But like, you know, honestly, like if anybody's interested to know more about the project, wants to hear about it, just get in touch with me.
Awesome. Now you're doing some really cool roles right now with the EFC movie, the Bulldog Effect, and Star Trek. You don't always get these awesome roles. What is the worst role that you've had to endure to get to this point?
Oh my God, I've had so many terrible roles. Like, jeez.
Is there one that sticks out to you as like, that was the worst experience I've ever had? Whether it's a horrible script or it's just the experience on, you know, producing it. Is there anything that sticks out as just an awful experience or
I will say this, like, okay, I wish somebody would have told me as a young actress that you just don't have to say yes to everything, and like, please say no if you don't want to do it. Just say no. Just say no, walk away. There will be other opportunities. But I do want to say this to any young, like reasonably, like I'm just any young female or any young person that is in Central Europe or anywhere in the world. If you show up to an audition and it looks strangely like an R-rated or triple X-rated adult film, walk away. Just because the producer tells you they're a producer or a director in a bar does not mean it's a reality. So I wish somebody would have told me that Prague was the porn capital of Europe before I started going to film school there. I have never been in a porn movie. I've never done anything like that. But there were quite a few auditions that I showed up, quote unquote auditions that I showed up to, and turned around and walked right out the door. It became a joke between me and all the other actresses in Prague. We were like, "Oh, did you go to another audition?" And we would like, audition with quotation marks in the air. We're like, "Yep. Oh, guys, I just showed up to another fun audition." Right? Like,
oh my God.
We called it the saloon doors because like you walked in and you turned around and you walked right back out.
So if you're going to an audition and it's just a couch, just leave.
Yeah, no, there was also like a certain smell in the air where you're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm good here. Bye, guys.
Looking in my research, I found you are fluent in Dutch, intermediate German, basic French, and Czech. So I would imagine you might need to get a little bit better at Czech when you...
Yeah, no. They probably told me all this, like, in Czech.
Yeah.
At the bar, yelling in my ear. And I was like, like, just a young actress, and they're like, ka-ching, they see dollar signs in their eyes. But meanwhile, I didn't understand that they were, like giving me the fine print in Czech rather than in English, just because they didn't or couldn't or didn't want to say it in English.
Yeah.
If my Czech was better, maybe I would have not wasted so much time. But also in Prague, it's not so, like, the women had a more nonchalant attitude about it in general.
Oh, really?
So, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not as frowned upon. In Europe in general, this is how it was when I lived there. It could be different now because it could be more westernized, but violence, the values in culture and, like, violence and sex were reversed there. Like, so we in North America accept violence more mainstream than we accept sex.
Right, yeah.
We just do. And in Europe, it was the opposite way around. Like, if they were watching Saving Private Ryan and seeing all of the, like, just murder and all that other stuff that was happening in this war movie, they would walk out way more offended than if they were watching, you know, some very gratuitous Lars von Trier sex movie, right. You know?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they had a much, in some ways, a much healthier attitude towards sex and sexuality in Europe, and much more fluid. They're ahead of us in a lot of ways in that respect. And violence, they kind of abhorred a little bit. I think because World War I and II affected them a lot more.
Well, yeah.
You know, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They were on the front lines of it, so they really don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, the scars are still there. I mean, you can still see the battlefields, like, you know, they're still...
I mean, Auschwitz is still there.
Yeah.
I visited a few different concentration camps in the Czech Republic, and it's jarring to you as an individual. You can feel that. You can feel it walking up to it. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, this is... Like, you just know walking up, even if you don't know, like, and then you see the gates and you see and you're like, oh my God, this is what this is. But you can feel it. You can feel the energetic field of it walking up.
I believe that.
Yeah.
So I saw also that when you're not acting and, you know, jumping out windows and modeling and you do work for the Toronto International Film Festival and Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah.
What kind of work do you do for those organizations?
I do a lot of logistic and managerial work for them. So at Sundance, I'm the assistant manager for the Ray Theater.
Okay.
Which just, I mean, it's an amazing opportunity. I love working for these film festivals because it's a platform for so many voices to be shown, to be heard, to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's just a great feeling to be part of it. And for TIFF, every year is different with them. They kind of place me where they need me. This year, I was the red carpet liaison for their corporate sponsors, Bell and RBC.
Oh, cool.
At Roy Thompson Hall. Yeah, so I worked with everybody and helped to get different stars on the carpet and helped to make sure that everybody that was attending, that was a corporate sponsor, was very happy with their experience. And then I think, which was actually, like, it's easy. You're at TIFF. There's, like, we did the premiere for Joker and for... I mean, Joker's the one that stood up to me because I was like, oh my God, it's Joaquin Phoenix. And Edward Norton, like, made a surprise. Like, Edward Norton walked up on the red carpet in, like, his Nikes and jeans. And I was like, yeah, man, you do it. It was, like, the ultimate boss move. He was just, like, in the area.
Awesome.
Decided to, like, surprise them.
That is
and Bradley Cooper
awesome.
And all that stuff. Yeah, it was a cool experience.
A friend of mine actually did the ADR for Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, what a film to do ADR for. Like, ooh, wow.
Yeah, she's on the podcast twice.
Cool.
Look at the first time she was on, she was actually working on the film. She couldn't tell me anything about it. She's like, "Oh, I'm just on a big project." She's like, "You'll know what it is soon
when it comes out." Yeah.
And then she came on a second time to talk about movie sequels. We did a whole episode on just movie sequels. Her name is Kira Rossler.
I'll check her out.
Yeah, she did she played bass for the punk band Black Flag back in the 80s.
Oh, I know Black Flag.
Yeah, Kira's a friend of mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's been on the show twice.
I played bass for a hot minute, and then I gave it up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me pull up my paperwork here, because I did see a few things here, and if I can find the right page, I will mention here, because where the hell's my page? You had a lot of, wait, here it is. Okay, you had a lot of stuff here as far as your performance skills, performance in motion capture.
Yeah.
Your soprano. You play oboe, alto, and baritone sax, and the djembe. Is that, am I pronouncing?
Djembe, yeah, African hand drums. I don't put bass on there because, like, I can do, and piano. Like, there's other instruments that I can play, like chords, and like if you give it to me, I can follow along. Yeah. But I'm not like proficient. You know what I mean? And bass is one of those instruments that I always wanted to be so good at. Like, I love Flea, and I love Jaco Pastorius.
Oh, yeah.
Wooten. Like, I'm like an aspirational bass player where I just wish I could sit down and be like,
oh my gosh.
Like, but I can't. I never was able to. So,
oh man, you need to check out. Amazing. You need to check out some of the old episodes of the podcast, because I've had some amazing bassists on, like Scott Reeder from Caius.
Oh, yeah, I need to check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Bass players are like, they're just such chill people, but they're so good. Like, you know what I mean? Oh,
I know. I got to pull up, see who else I had. Trey Gunn from King Crimson was on.
Wow, you've had some really quality people on this podcast.
It's no joke.
I'm really honored to be part of this.
Oh,
podcast.
Thank you. And if you like old punk, I had Don Zintera on from Inner Ear Studios. He recorded Minor Threat, Fugazi, all kinds of Bad Brains. Let's see. I had Annette Zelinskas. She currently plays bass for the Bangles, but she played bass for them in the early 80s before they hit. She also sings for the band Medicine. Let's see.
Yeah, man.
I got to remember all these bass players.
Great of people on this podcast.
Oh man, it's a blast. I love doing this show. This whole podcast, it's great. I met some amazing people. Check it out. I don't know if you listen to a lot of podcasts or not, but I've had some awesome people on, like Alan Johannes, who's played with Soundgarden,
yes,
Queens of the Stone Age, John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. His daughter is a photographer. I had her on.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God! How do you have access to these people? This is amazing. Like, I shouldn't. You're a great interviewer, by the way.
Thank you.
Really, like, keep going with this, but
thank you very much.
That's amazing. The fact that you just have access to those people, and then it's like, no wonder, because you're such a great person to talk to. It's a beautiful gift.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's throwing enough shit against the wall. Some of it sticks, and some of the really cool people. Oh, they just decided, yeah, why not? God, I'm scrolling through right now trying to see who else. I don't know if you like the band Failure, but I've had Kelly Scott from Failure on. Let's see. Awesome Canadian band, Blinker the Star. Jordan Zadarazzi's been on. He's a good friend of mine now. So,
cool.
See, I'm trying to think of who else I've had on recently that hasn't been released yet. I'll text you the link. Check it out.
Yeah, cool. I'll check them out.
Let me know what you like and what you don't like, because I'm always looking for feedback. Feedback is so hard to get.
I know, it's hard to get. I know. I'm like, I go to every audition and they're like, great, thanks, next. I'm like, but was it great? Please tell me.
Exactly. How am I going to get any better if nobody says, well, this is great, but this was dumb?
Yeah, no, and that's going back to my year as a Rotary Youth Ambassador. The Dutch are so dialed in on that.
Oh, really?
Such a great audience. Like, they're so great to have as friends and people as an audience. You know, a lot of artists will go perform in the Netherlands because they're such an honest audience that they will let you know if you were good or if you were shit.
Wow.
But, like, they'll let you know honestly, and if you were bad, they're not holding it against you. They're just like, we didn't like this.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I don't like your shirt, but not in a mean way. It's just like in a way that states like, I don't like your shirt. If you like your shirt, that's great, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
Hey, that's awesome.
Great, thanks.
And,
thank you.
One of the guys I had on recently that was really cool is, I don't know if you listen to, obviously don't know what you listen to, but there's one of my favorite artists of all time. Well, one of my favorite artists of all time is out of Canada. There's a guy named Devin Townsend.
Devin Townsend.
Oh,
he's in Vancouver. He used to be the guitar player for Steve Vai.
Yeah,
he's so amazing.
Oh,
Shout out to Devin. I love Devin.
I love Devin. Well, so you know about his Devin Townsend project, and
yes,
I had. Let's see. I've had one of the singers from Devin Townsend project and Casualties of Cool album he did. Che Ami Dorval had her on.
Amazing.
God,
you had amazing people on.
I had his drummer Ryan Van Poederoyen on, and I just had his synth guy Mike St. Jean on. I haven't. That one's not out yet, but yeah.
Okay, can't wait for it to be out.
Oh, I can't wait for the tour.
I cannot believe you had Devin Townsend on your podcast. Like, out of everybody.
Well, I haven't had Devin yet.
Okay, you're gonna get Devin.
I've reached out to him, and he told me, hey, go. Here's the management.
You know what? Go tell him you had Ava Blackwell. You won't know who I am. So Ava Blackwell was on my podcast. She's in Toronto. You better get on here.
She's got neck muscles you wouldn't believe.
This girl flying through space. She's in the Delta Quadrant right now.
Exactly. You've no idea. I mean, she looks like an inside-out walnut, but man, don't let that throw you. But see, I'm trying to get one of the cool things. I had Shay on really early on in the podcast, and Devin's really hard to get up with. He's so busy. He's always working on new projects.
Such a busy guy. Like, he's so busy.
He's always creating music.
So dedicated to his craft.
Yeah, and it's so. The closest I got was I sent him a message, said, "Hey, I want to get you on the podcast." He said, "Here's the management team. Go contact them. If they say it's cool, I'll do it." I contacted them, and they say, "Well, we've got other people that we need to deal with first." I'm like,
keep at it, man. Perseverance is like the first thing.
Oh yeah, yes. So, but Shay said, "Well, I can't get you Devin, but I can hook you up with another guy that I'm working with, Bob Rock." Who's
nice?
He was with Rock and Hide, and he also produced Metallica's Black Album all the way through Saint Anger. Played bass with him, so I had Bob Rock on, and that's cool. That was awesome. So,
one of my best memories as an actor, you tend to do a lot of time bartending, and I used to bartend in the Czech Republic.
Oh, God.
One of my tips, at Hard Rock Cafe, which was a great gig. It was one of my favorite gigs, but also least favorite because I had to deal with a bunch of abuse from the Czech staff. Anyway, one time, one guy, through one of my regulars, an American, came, and his name was Scott Ray. And Scott, we've lost touch, but if you are listening, get back in touch with me. He tipped me. He's just one of those guys that would come in and double the bill, as my tip. I was like, "Thanks, dude." And he's like, "Okay, double the bill, but also here's an artist pass for Sonosphere, which is like a big rock festival."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, come with me. Like, I don't have anybody in Prague to go with me. Come with me. So I'm like, cool. I'm like 20. I don't know what this thing is.
Yeah.
It's an artist pass. So man. I get in he picks me up in this black Mercedes, this limo, and we just go around. And I'm like, are we going in the gates? He's like, no, we go in the artist entrance. And then I meet all of the rock stars, all of the people, everybody from my favorite bands, Volbeat, and Maynard was there.
Oh,
he wasn't performing, but Maynard James Keenan was there. I was like, oh my God, God. Tool's my favorite band. But we were guests of Metallica that night.
Wow.
Because Scott had donated to a bunch of Lars's daughter's things. And I got pictures with Lars and Kirk and the bass player. Oh my God, what's his name?
Oh, Robert Trujillo?
Yes, thank you. And we got to meet the whole band. We watched the whole set from Lars's cockpit.
Oh,
and just got to hang out with everybody afterwards. It was really, really, really fun.
That's awesome.
And then I took them all on a tour of all the best bars of the Czech Republic, because I knew
best
all the
places
bars.
to throw up.
They had their list from their management, but of course they didn't want to go to all those places. So we went to we hit the places that they needed to hit, and then I was like, let me actually show you Prague. Yeah. And I actually showed them Prague.
These are the best places to throw up.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, that alley right there.
Oh man!
But you know what? I had all those photos, but then Scott had the camera. It was at the time where you had like those Kodak, like digital cameras.
Yeah.
And he lost the camera that night. I was like, dude, you lost the camera. What the fuck? Anyway,
oh man,
that's like one of my best worst stories. Like I have this amazing memory with like Lars and everybody, but I have no proof of it.
Oh man, that
so
sucks.
It's just my own memory. Up in my closet, I still have the sign. The only proof I have is I have the signed drum head that some really generous guy gave us. He gave us all Sabian drum heads.
Oh, wow.
And we got it signed by all the members of Metallica. And I have my pass, my artist pass, and I have that drum head.
That is awesome.
I brought it with me everywhere, yeah.
So let me ask you, where can people find out about the projects that you're doing? Because you sound like you're doing
basically
a lot of stuff.
Best place to... Yeah, I know, I do a lot of stuff. And I would love to say that it's all premeditated, but it's really usually just based on, like, the opportunities that are in front of me that happen to work out. Like,
that's great, though.
Yeah. So the best place to find out about it is on my Instagram, because that's where I put everything.
Okay.
Facebook, it usually makes it there, too. So you can follow me, but Instagram's like the first place to hit. So that's, again, at Avaah, AVAAH _ Blackwell, and it's the same on every other social media platform. Ava Blackwell on Twitter, Ava Blackwell on Facebook, and that's AVAAH BLACKWELL. Just remember Ava, like you're screaming at the end, like Ava.
See, there you go. And once you get it, you can't miss it.
No, you can't miss it. Ava Blackwell.
So, do you have any upcoming projects besides Bulldog Effect? That's and the MMA movie that's coming out?
Well, I do have a Lifetime movie out right now that I've actually been nominated for a few awards for, and it's on Lifetime right now. It's called Deadly Influencer. You can check it out.
Awesome.
I played Doreen Madison on that movie, and I don't know whether or not I will win the award, but I've been nominated.
Awesome.
Be nominated is an honor, so we'll see if I win. You'll find out in a few months.
What is that movie about?
It's about social media, and it's about it's about how it's about the illusion of social media and the illusion of people going after it. And that's what I try to portray on my social media too. Like if you look at my feed on Instagram, it's all pretty polished. But if you watch my story, it's pretty honest about my journey and stuff. I try to put whatever is permanent. I want it to be highlights.
Okay. Things
that look polished and whatever. But if you watch my story, I'm pretty honest about what I go through as an artist. It's not glamorous, Yeah. The outcome is glamorous, but the process usually is not as an artist.
There's nothing
which
glamorous
I
about modeling.
I love that grit and I love that passion. And Deadly Influencer is essentially about the things you need to be careful of on the internet, and making us realize, and making a younger generation realize that true community and true friends are actually people being together in a room. Right. It's not the internet is wonderful because it connects people like you and I. You're in Virginia, I'm in Toronto. We may never actually hang out in a room together. I would love to, but
me too.
I'm going to get this version of you and you're going to get this version of me. You don't actually know what our day-to-day lives are. You don't know how I make coffee in the morning or vice versa, right?
Exactly.
Friends, you get that tactile, visceral experience with them, and that's an actual community. And Deadly Influencer really addresses that issue. I think it's a cool movie. It's quite deep, And
it's Lifetime, and that's out now. People can watch that now.
Yeah, that's out now. That's on Lifetime, so you can check it out. It stars Morgan Taylor Campbell, who does an amazing job as my cousin and one of the leads, Skylar, and Abby Ross. She does an amazing job as well. And Dudek's in the film. And Kira Graves, who actually got... Kira Graves has a small role in that movie. But she actually got another huge Lifetime movie after that, and she is a recurring on Grand Army now, a new Netflix series that's just about to come out.
Oh, cool.
So it gave a lot of people, like a younger generation, their start in Somalia.
That is awesome. Well, I'm going to keep our fingers crossed for...
Yeah, hopefully I'll win my award for that movie. That'd be cool.
Exactly. Then we can have you on again, and we can talk about what it feels like to win that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And, whatever else we want to talk about. So
Yeah.
Well... Thank you so much for spending time. I know I've kept you for almost an hour now. Thank you.
Oh,
I really
okay.
appreciate all the time you spent with us. Me.
Thank you. No, well, with you now and with your audience later.
Exactly.
Now, as they're listening to it. Hi, guys. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Like, I've kept you for almost an hour as well. But thank you so much. I love the questions you asked. I love talking about all this stuff, and I really look forward to checking out some of your other episodes. Like I said, you really have some cool people on this on your podcast.
Awesome, thank you. That's all staying in the podcast, by the way. When I edit it, that's all.
Good. But there's nothing else. Just Ava saying you have great people on this podcast. Listen to every other episode.
I'm just gonna edit it. It's gonna be an hour of this is great. Thank you. Great questions. Awesome. This is great. So, well, thank you so much. I know I've taken up a whole bunch of your time. Thank you so much.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm taking up a bunch of yours too. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you for interviewing me, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity.